Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would go over some of my personal shoujo recs. And since I have so many to give out, I thought that today I could just focus on the early 2000s, kind of older school shoujos. This unfortunately does not include 90s shoujos, but I do want to say if you have any recommendations for any good shoujo 90s series, please leave them in the comments down below because I always have such a hard time finding good series. Without any further ado, let me show you guys my personal recommendations. I try to find a wide variety for you guys, so whether you like short series or long series, fantasy, no fantasy, whatever you'd like, I try to make it as wide as possible. And I'll leave timestamps down below if it's easier for you guys to go to the mangas that you think would fit you best. And I'll label how long it is and the genres. And if you end up reading it and liking it, let me know. And if you hate it, also let me know. Alright, so let's get into it. So this first shoujo that I'm going to be talking about features comedy, features romance, of course, and it features a little bit of horror, but not in the way that you'd expect. In addition to this, it has a love triangle and a pretty short and sweet story that is only 3 volumes long. And that shoujo is Shikabane Cherry, and I've waited so long to talk to you guys about this because it's so good, and I hear nobody ever talk about it in the shoujo community. But to give you guys a quick summary, this follows a main character who accidentally turns herself into a zombie after drinking a super intense energy drink that causes her to get into an accident. But because of how strong the energy drink was, she survives and manages to become a zombie instead. And yes, I do recognize how ridiculous that sounds, but you have to trust me. The reading experience of this manga was so enjoyable to read for me. At first, I was laughing so hard, and then it got serious, and then it got a little romantic, and it just was a great combination for a shoujo. In addition to this, the side characters are all so lovable. This manga also features some trans representation through one of the characters. Honestly, I recommend this shoujo to everyone. Even if supernatural and horror isn't really your lane in what you read for shoujo, I definitely recommend it. I come back to this shoujo probably once every month just to reread it, just for something short and sweet to make my day better. Now, moving on to our next shoujo. This shoujo features slice of life, comedy, and a tiny bit of sports. And this shoujo is High School Debut. And this series follows Haruna, our main character, as she tries to get a boyfriend in high school. However, all of her attempts seem to be failing. And this is where our character Yo Komiyama comes in and tries to help her enhance her style in order to get a boyfriend. This series is iconic, and it's so hilarious. I definitely recommend this to anybody who has watched or read the series A Lovely Complex and enjoyed it, because it kind of gives off the same vibes. This story is a little bit longer, with its total number of volumes being 13, but if you wanted to, you could probably binge all of this in one day if you really wanted to speedrun it. Moving on to another supernatural romantic comedy is the very famous and very iconic Kamisama Kiss. Now, you've probably heard of that series before, but what I really want to advocate for is that you guys read the manga, because trust me, it is so good. It's definitely a longer series with 25 volumes in total, but it is so satisfying to see it all the way through. So in case you've never heard of Kamisama Kiss before, either the manga or the TV show, let me give you a quick recap on the whole plot. So this story follows our main character Nanami. And Nanami unfortunately is put into a situation which lands her up in being homeless due to her father's debts. And because of this, she is forced into a situation where she kind of has to live in a shrine. Basically, a mysterious man comes up to her and is like, you know what? You would be a great candidate for this shrine I know. And you know what? You can live there. And since she's homeless, at this point, she has no other choice. But once she gets there, a bunch of supernatural predicaments happen. And as a result, she got scammed in a way, if you think about it, but not really. Basically, she becomes the land god of this shrine, and so she gets to create a bunch of new friends because of this and a couple new enemies, and you get to follow her along her journey in being a high schooler and being a land god. And I love this series so much. It is like top shoujo for me. Oh my gosh, I'm usually not a supernatural girl, but this shoujo is the peak. It's so good. By the way, if you haven't watched it and you're not really a manga person, I definitely recommend that you watch this. It is just amazing how the characters are and the dynamics between the characters. I think Nanami is one of the best written shoujo females ever, and I'm gonna stand on that until I'm in the grave because she is very well written. And I feel like a lot of female shoujo characters, it's either you're brave and you're a tomboy, or that's it. You can't have one without the other. But Nanami is so brave and she is still just so feminine, and I love that for her. And this series is just so amazing, and the show is good, but I think the manga is amazing because the stories that follow after it are just so good and just so digestible. I think it's amazing, and I think anybody who's into shoujo or is just getting into it, I think it's a great way to start because it is just so lovable, and to me it's impossible to hate this series. It's pretty hard to. I love it so much. So the next shoujo I'm going to be talking about is one that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but it's a good older one, and it's a nice, like, if you're bored one day and you want something quick, something easy to digest, it's only, I think, 5 volumes. It's really good, really cute, really wholesome. The genres, it's comedy, slice of life, shoujo. Some places it says psychological. It doesn't really get that deep into the psychological aspect, I don't think. But this shoujo is Penguin Brothers. And Penguin Brothers follows our main character, Hina. And Hina is coming back to school after a long time of being away from her hometown. And it's been quite a couple years. And as she's getting into her school, she's noticing that there's a split and there's a divide between the students. So she ends up finding out why this is, why she senses this split. So Wikipedia defines them as dictators. I don't know. Up to interpretation. I don't know. Dictators in a show, saying that in a shoujo is crazy for me. I just think of them as 2 guys, but I guess they are dictators in a way. So basically there's these 2 groups in the school. Well, technically 3, but we'll get into the 3rd one later. So there is this one guy who runs a sector of the school, and all of his followers wear black, and then the other half, they all wear white. And then the 3rd group is the grays, so that's our 3rd one. They're the in-betweens, and people don't like them because they're like, girl, just make up your mind. But when Hina comes in, she is kind of grossed out and like weirded out by this, and is confused by all this violence that's happening as a result of it, because these girls really get violent. They do not play around. So Hina tries to combat this by directly confronting both of these quote-unquote dictators, and she says, I want to help make most of the school gray, like, accept my challenge. And that's it. That's her story. You're following her as she's trying to convert everyone, being like, guys, we don't need to separate these people. And it's really good, and I think it's a really brave story. I love brave shoujo main characters. They're like my favorite, if you couldn't tell by the rest of the things I put down here. But it is a great story. I think the characters are good. It's pretty short, so you could finish it probably in an afternoon, to be honest. It's only 5 volumes long, but short, sweet, good message, and pretty good characters. I hearted them. Alright, and now we're going to move on to my last recommendation. And this one, it's a good one. And do you want to know why it's a good one? It's because it's a cafe shoujo. Literally, where can you go wrong? And you can't. Literally every cafe shoujo I've read, which has maybe only been 3, I'll admit, they're all good. How can you hate them? How can you hate them? And this one is so funny. It's slice of life, comedy, shoujo, obviously. And I laugh so hard every time I read it, and it's so good. And I wish I got an anime to it, because this feels like such a 12 episode amazing shoujo. But anyway, let me get into the plot and the characters. So this story follows Uru Takamura. So, surprise, surprise, she starts working part-time at a cafe. She's not really known for being passionate about it, but it's just something to do part-time. And through doing her part-time job, she meets these 2 guys who are her co-workers. So, these 2 guys are Ichiro Nishikawa, who is this sleepy guy who, even though he's like asleep for half the manga, but he is so funny, and he's my favorite. He's my favorite character. Spoiler alert, but he is just the funniest guy ever. And in addition to this, we have Satsuki Shindo, who is this guy who's kind of he takes his pastry stuff very seriously. So he kind of contrasts the other guy a lot. But it's about them working in a cafe together, their experiences, the different customers, the competition, and it is such a good shoujo. I'll admit, I have not finished it. I always reread it, and I get a little lost. It is a longer series, but it's such a comfy reread. Even though I've never finished it, I swear it's good. And with that, that's all my recommendations for the older school shoujo. At least you might hear me talk about more shoujo soon. I have a problem. I'm not shutting up a lot. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have read these series, please let me know, because I need to find somebody who has also read the one about the zombie girl, Chikabane Cherry. Oh my gosh, that one's so good, and I wish more people talk about it. Oh, it's so good. But if you read it, yeah, just let me know and tell me if you like it. And if you have any, I know I said at the beginning, if you have any 90s recommendations, give them to me. But outside of that, if you have any just regular shoujo recommendations, please give them to me. I'm always an open book. I have so many written down, but I love reading shoujo, so please give me your recommendations if you have them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it took forever to come out. I'm really sorry. I've been very busy, but I hurt you guys, and I appreciate you guys being here and spending your time with me today. I appreciate it so much, and I hope you guys all have an amazing day, and I hope you see at least one frog, or I hope you see one of those leaves that are like bigger than the size of your hand. I hope so. Anyway, bye.